So, what inspired you to become a cinematographer?
What inspired me to become a cinematographer? Actually, see, I was always very visual person. Like I would always, since my childhood, I was always into drawing, and then I went to a fine art college, and that's where I discovered photography. And somehow I realized I think in motion. I come from Pune, so for me, Pune National Archives and FTI, I was very close to my house, and somehow I ended up going and watching lots of films there. And yeah, it was a very gradual journey, but a very uh, self-realizing one. Like I think around age of 16, 17, I knew and this is what I want to do, and that's how I actually. So by the when I finished my graduation around 1920, I had already applied to Satyajit Film and Television Institute, and I had got through. So yeah, that's how it actually started.
Ma'am, does your parents encourage or discourage you as a for cinematography?
So see, the thing is, my parents. I'm the only child, so my parents were always supportive of what I wanted to do. But of course, when I said I want to do cinematography, they had little. They did not stop me, but they just wanted me to realize that it's not um, something that it's regular, and the way they brought me up is very ungender biased. Like they've never told me that, oh, you can't do this because you're a girl, but they said that there will be people in the industry who will say that to you, and you should be able to take it or handle it in a manner that doesn't stop you from doing what you're doing. Also, I come from a very middle class family, right? So for them it was very
Different.
important for me to understand that then the conventional life is not something that I can aspire to have.
Ma'am, as you said that you did your graduation in SRFT, your
Yes,
cinematography course. S-
post graduation in
Okay.
SRFTI, yeah.
So, ma'am, what was your experience there?
So the thing is, I since I come from a middle class family, for me going to film school was the only way to you know learn cinematography, because I had during the screenings that I used to attend in FTI, SRFTI, I realized that a lot of people learn on the field also, but it just takes a lot of time, and I did not have that kind of a support system where I can take forever to, or rather it's not like that. I did have good support system, I would rather say. I felt that I should not become a burden of my on my parents after one age. I felt that I should be working at the right age on my own money, and rather support myself, and after one point try and support them in any way if they want to me to, but thankfully that's not been the case. Mm, so for me it was very important that I go to a film school, and when I went to a film school I was very focused. I used to make sure that I'm doing everything that's made or designed in the course, rather sometimes extra work. So I see, because in post graduation nobody can really teach you anything, and cinematography is not about doing the right thing or the right thing, wrong thing. You know, that it a shot cannot be right or wrong. You know, it will be on the vision of the director, how you visualized, how the production designer has visualized, how the actor has visualized, how the makeup person has done things, and how the costume has come about. So there are a lot of factors in this. So for a cinematographer uh, to sort of understand that how you can complement the story is the only way to get things right for the film. So for me, I don't think there was um, mm, there was this time where I used to wait for somebody to teach me, because it's all practice. cinematography is practice. The only thing I'll say that what institute did was I got a lot of hands-on practice on the equipment, because it had everything that, as a cinematographer you needed to know, like cameras, track trolleys, um, light, studio. So, as a cinematographer, the basic things that you need to learn from, they were very hands on. I could access them, I could handle them myself. I did not have to spend money on hiring them or learning from them, or learning, hiring and learning, or on set usually if you go, cameras are very expensive. No camera attendant is just going to let you touch the lens or the camera just like that. So in institute it becomes very organic, that you get to practice with all of this, and also with that you sort of develop your sense of storytelling. You evolve, you see, you practice, you make do projects, from one year to the another year to finally doing your diploma. So you sort of understand what kind of filmmaking you like, or what is the kind of aesthetic you like to follow, or how you evolve as a person. Your art evolves. So um, yeah, I mean, it's a combination of learning the technique and evolving as a person and artist. And that time you get in institute, what happens is if you do it in the industry, yes, you will learn, you will, but then there is a certain trend in the industry and you end up learning that, and then to evolve from it, you don't really find your own voice. So it takes time. Of course, there have been great cinematographers like Ashok Mehta, who has not been to a film school and then just evolved and become, you know, mm, a big cinematographer. So, and done work, great work like Bandit Queen, and but for me, I felt I had no other option than proving to my parents that I can get through a film school, which is very competitive, which is not easy, which is like a regular, getting into IIT or getting into.
If somebody wants to become a cinematographer, you will recommend that they should get a formal training, or they.
I will say that there should be some time spent on formal training. It could be a 6 months course, it could be a 1 year's course, it could be a workshop of some time, and watch a lot of films.
Ma'am, can you explain what is the difference between a director and a cinematographer?
There's a lot of difference. Director thinks is involved in filmmaking right from the conceptualization of the story and scripting and dialogue writing, workshops with the actors, planning with the whole team, finishing the film, thinking of sound design, thinking of editing, thinking of how he would want the character graph to be, and everything, right? And the director is there from the start till the end, till the film releases. And because now, see, filmmaking is not a independent. It is, we do have independent art, independent films, but it's still a collective art, right? It's a collective effort. So what happens is, it's very important that you sort of also see the money involved, at least the money you spent, so that the next time you want to make something, you it's recovered. So the director has to look through everything from making the film to the film releasing or reaching the audience that it he thinks or she thinks is the right audience. Whereas cinematographer's job is, once they get the script, read the script, uh, dig into the director's mind, that how they have visualized it, try and figure out how you can do justice to the story that the director wants to tell in the best possible way, and work with the production designer, costume designer, the direction team. The chief AD is one of the most important factor for the cinematographer because they really help you in scheduling the whole film. Like when what to shoot, what time, when, and there has to be very clear communication between all the departments. And my job ends after the shoot till the film is edited. And of course, the cinematographer has to also understand the edit little bit so that on the edit table the shots can be joined and made into a sequence. Sometimes you think that a film this sequence needs like 10 shots, or sometimes that one sequence action sequence might need like some 300 shots or even 1,000 shot. But there could be some sequence where you think, oh, it can be one shot. But all of this has to come together with everybody. And that basic thing one should have with the director. And then once the shoot is over, my job sort of ends there. Then it's edited, there's post work done. And when the film is finally edited, it comes on color correction table, is when I sort of grade the film around, depends on the length of the film, but it's about 15 to 20 days. If there's VFX, I have to go and check the visual effects that are put to see whether they're doing justice to what I've shot, or is it correct or not. But my job is this. There are two parts. Actually, there are three parts: prep, pre-production, which is very important, then shooting portion, then grading. So I'm probably the 50% partner in the whole thing, but then the director has to work with similarly with the sound designer or with the production designer, or with the actors, because um, actors have to take the workshop, their look tests, their costumes. So the director is far more involved in the process than the cinematographer. Yes, the cinematographer is also involved. Like the films that I've done, I've usually ended up being there for everything. But I'll say the director is the captain of the ship, as it's said. And the film is mainly the director's film. So one has to sort of acknowledge that. And there's a that is like the major difference. Like the cinematographer comes on board as an artist who will support the director's vision and help the director to tell what the story.
Okay. Okay. There are so many cameras and lenses right now. So how do you choose a camera and lens for a particular scene? Can you please explain that?
So it also depends on what we're shooting it. For example, if we're shooting it for theatrical or we're shooting it for OTT, now OTT has a lot of n number of deliverables now. Every with time, the technology is changing, and now there's something called HDR, where they have 14 stops of what you can see from highlight to the low light. So then you have to choose cameras which will give you a certain resolution. So you end up choosing one which is the best for you at that. So if you have a lot of VFX, you choose a camera which is going to give you higher resolution footage. But you can also choose a camera which will give you a 4K sort of image. And then a lot of these OTTs have their specifications of what cameras are approved for their platforms. So, and see, ultimately, what is happening is in theaters, in smaller cities, like a two-tier cities, people still play MPEG file or a HD file um, in as a projection through UFO, or their Scrabble or whatever the distribution channel is. But for television, there is a certain criteria for satellite, and for OTTs, which is also one of the major sources of income for the producers, they have to shoot in a certain resolution. So it also this is one criteria. Second is your budget. You choose according to your budget. And when these two are sort of very technical things, um, the main thing now comes is your storytelling. Sometimes your story needs, a smaller camera where you can fit in any corner. Or yeah, sometimes your story needs lenses that need to be of certain sharpness or very deep focus. Or which, or you're shooting in low light, so you probably need a lens which has more like a the opening is higher, like you probably are shooting full open. And um, so it all depends on the script. It all depends on the kind of narrative, what style are you choosing, what equipments are you using. For example, if it's going to be more on the gimbal, or it's going to be more handheld, or if it's going to be more studio shoot, or if it's going to be more on rigs. All of that one has to figure, um, and then choose the camera. um, and then of course your budget comes in question. And then the major thing is your how, where it's going to, what is the output.
Okay, okay. Ma'am, we hear a lot like that lighting is very important for filmmaking. So how do you light a subject?
So that also depends. See, like when I sit with the director, see, my process is I usually read the script on my own once. Then the next reading, I sit with the director, and I ask the director to read the script for me, like narrate the script. Then I sit with the director for 15 to 20 days at a stretch and sort of break down every scene. That's when I discuss, what time are you thinking of the day? Is it night? Is it this time? Is the character in this kind of a light? Then we do a lot of referencing. Or, we sort of do a sketching, or we have a storyboard artist who sort of does our visualizes, like draws for us and visualizes. And we do probably doodling and tell them that, this is a stick figure thing, and this is how I want it, and this is where my light source is going to be. And you basically sort of do a lot of prep. You like finish doing your understand what kind of location the director is looking, what kind of lighting the director is looking at. Or you suggest, you build on it. The director says, oh, it's morning, and I probably say, end up saying, oh great, morning. But what if it's just like about to get, the scene needs like a little bit of sunlight, just like a little sunlight coming in. Or by the end of it, we could do a little sunlight coming in. Or maybe it suddenly gets cloudy. Or you sort of build on it as you discuss. So lighting is very important to so sort of you decide what to do. Now when it comes to execution, if you're doing in studio, then it's a lot more control, because that you can light up, and you can use this light and that light to create this and that. Or you can use this technique, or you put a mirror and put the light on it, or you bounce the light on, or you make a light soft. Or basically it's in your control. But when you're shooting in real locations, and then is the time you really have to understand when is your sunrise, when is your sunset, what direction are you shooting from, where is how much time do you have from this time to this time, how much time will you need to finish this scene. Are you going to shoot it in 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours? Then how do you keep it constant? Then you figure out with the director, do you need to scheme it and create your own light, or do you need to sort of work in the natural light. And if it's a scene where you can shoot in 2 hours, and that light is going to stay perfect for in that location, then you sort of schedule it at that time. But if you think no, it's going to take longer than that, then you sort of understand how you can light it up. So yes, lighting plays a, this is all technicality of lighting, but to create a mood, of course you have to think and dig and sit with the director and understand what kind of mood they want to create. And again, when I say you have to sit with the director, it's not like I don't visualize, I suggest the director what the director, or build on it. But I prefer that it comes from the director a lot of times, because they are thinking the film in a holistic manner, right? They know how, what is the sound design going to be, how it's going to look in the edit, how the actors are going to act. Because yes, I do go and see actor workshops, but the director is working with the actor for the longer time, so they understand the nuances better.
Ma'am, what you prefer in location or in shoot?
It depends, sometimes real locations do great magic, but there are times when you can't shoot on real locations. It could be you're shooting with a star, or you're shooting in a very risky location, or you're probably shooting in rains, or you're probably shooting in um, it all depends on what kind of production support you have, and what kind of production designer you have. And yeah, I mean, to really get a good texture, I really prefer the real location, but it also depends on what the project needs.
Ma'am, you have shot like Crossing Bridge film. So
Yes.
can you tell that experience? What was it like?
So I was assisting Mr. Kiran Devans for almost. I came in 2009 to uh, Bombay, and I started assisting Kiran sir. And 2 years I was assisting him, and he was very supportive and encouraged me to do my own things also. Meanwhile, Crossing Bridges is directed by Sange Dorji Thondok. Sange was my batchmate from SRFTI, so I shot his diploma film. So we were always thinking of doing something together post that. And there was this one time I said, Sange, I now really have this urge of doing something of my own. And he said, oh, we should do something of it. So we thought of doing a short film. Then we realized, what if we just do end up doing a feature film? So we went, me and Sange really planned a lot. And Sange had a feature film script. So we sort of planned what camera to use. At that point, 5D was a new camera. And Sange um, had some savings which we sort of used for the film, and I helped him sort of execute the whole thing. I ended up becoming the executive producer on it, because my team was the my team was the biggest team, and sort of did there were 10 of us on the shoot. It was multitasking. I used to get up, so the sunrise over there is at around 4:35. So we had to, my call times would be, we have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and leave by 3, and reach the location by 3:34, so that we don't miss the sunrise. And then we would finish our day by 4:35 in the evening. And it was very cold, because it was December and we were in Arunachal, and it was, sometimes there was no electricity. So now there's, of course, there are mobile towers. At that point it was only BSNL over there, only BSNL numbers would work. And if the electricity went off, the BSNL operation room would shut, and then there would be no network. So we had to make sure there was generator to charge our batteries. And my assistant would get up early in the morning, to, because my tripod grease would like stiffen. So he would get up, and for half an hour he would exercise. For him it was like a cardio thing, where he would keep turning the head and turning with it, for walking around, like walking around Tulsi. And uh, yeah, so I would help him schedule, I would help him with costumes, I would come and back up the footage in 3 drives. And we were not shooting with actors, we were shooting with real people from the town. It's Sanghe's village that we shot in. So we really sort of went all out, and made sure that but and we also were very sure of the budget, so we sort of scheduled like 10 days of lights, and then we are going to do all daylight shots or night shots, but in a certain manner. And yeah, so we were shooting till 30, 32 days at a stretch, but we were only a team of 10, 12, and it was good fun. If I look back at it, I think we were very young. We were all 27 years old, 30 years old, trying to do things, and we took it as, oh, we're just doing it for ourselves. And when we finished the film, me and Sangi sort of realized that, it can't just be put on YouTube. So we applied to work in progress lab, and it got selected there. Dipti Dukkana was heading it at that point. And she encouraged us a lot. We sent it to festivals. Then uh, because I became one of the producers, I was like, the money that's been spent also has to come back, right? Little bit at least. So we started. I learned how to distribute the film. I met people, made had I had a company with three partners, um, and so I'm married to my one of my batchmates from SRFTA, Atanu Mukherjee. He's a director editor. He helped us package the film. Like he had cut the promos for us. My editor is my editor friend from Shongla Bhomik. He has edited my diploma film. Uh, Abhishek Gautam, I met in Bombay, but he was one of my friends who uh, sort of was interested in production. So he helped me sort of market the film. The fourth person was a little silent partner, but always there when whatever we needed to do, post on Facebook and do things. And we released it in PVR Directors Rare. Uh, I met Shiladitya Bora, and he had started this great initiative of releasing independent films in directors rare sort of section. He was working with PVR at that point, and it was a big encouragement for independent filmmakers like us. Then there was Hamara movie. There's still Hamara movie. Vinay Mishra, Preeti Ali, and Pallavi Rattogi. The three of them also played a sort of pivotal role in introducing me to Sheila Aditya. And at that point, I was also doing a short film called The Gatekeeper, which also we sort of my husband had directed. And again, I shot it in the same 5D camera that I shot Crossing Bridges on. And it also was mentored by Anurag Kashyap, Imtiaz Ali, uh, Vikramaditya Motwane, and some more directors. And it released in PVR Directors Rare. It won in IDSFFK Kerala Best Film. So it sort of encouraged me to keep doing more of this. And um,
It,
I think
ma'am, it is
all of this,
it is one of the
all of
most
this,
popular Northeast film, by the way.
yeah, yeah. So in a way, all of this was happening together. So for me, it was fun to discover how to. I was learning new things. Yeah,
Ma'am, is there a difference between a producer and an executive producer?
there's a lot of difference between producer and executive producer. In India, not so much. Uh, but a producer is somebody who gets finance, either puts in own finance or gets finance for somebody. And executive producer is somebody who knows how to execute the project, you know in that amount of money. And then there's creative producer who sort of develops the project creatively and looks through that creatively. There's uh, no sacrifice on the project. So yeah, these are the three four things.
Ma'am, as you said that you were in SRFTA and you watch a lot of films, can you suggest some films, your favorite films?
I have a lot of favorite films actually, but the ones that have visually stayed with me uh, and have always been some of my favorite films that I go to. Um I remember my first film, and which I was like, "What is this film? I don't understand it at all." Was 8.5. Yeah, yeah. And then I watched Andrei Rublev, which I was amazed to know that, it was shot like that. That first shot with the air balloon and everything was like amazing for me. And then, of course, our filmmakers in India, Satyajit Ray, Putrilogy, and Ritik Ghatak's Komal Gandhar, and Mrinal Sen's Bhuvan Shom, and I started with classics. So for me, of course, Bollywood was always there. I've been a crazy fan of Madhuri Dixit, and I would go and watch. My first film in theater was Teza Up, and I watched Hum Aapke Kaun some 15 times, and Dil Chahta Hai some X number of times, and Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. Uh, yeah, I mean, all of that was always parallelly going on. But inspiration for cinematography, if you ask me, mm, and I one of my another favorite filmmaker is Meera Nair. I really loved Namesake. Then a lot of films at that point. Natrang had come in Marathi film, which was very, very, very Rituparna Ghosh's films uh, that I felt were Raincoat and all those films really made impact on me. I saw different. Patal Ghar was something that I really enjoyed watching, and uh, there was some. Yeah, I mean, these films have been sort of been my go-to films, and I've like watched Kislowski films, Red, Blue, White, and one of my other most favorite storytelling-wise favorite film was Memories of Murder, which I've seen in Pune International Film Festival in archives, and I was amazed with the way that film was treated, and it still remains one of my favorite films. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Ma'am, your favorite cinematographers?
All depends on who shot what. Like KK Mahajan has done so much work. Shubhrata Mitra has done so much work that I love in Indian cinema. Kiran sir, I have always liked his cinematography. I have loved Aks. I've loved the way he shot Jodha Akbar. I love the way he's done product lighting for all the ads that he shot. Recent times, I really enjoy seeing Siddharth Diwan's work, or Swapnil's work, Swapnil Sonane's work. I think they're very good. These are the Indian cinematographers I enjoy. Shreya Dev Dubey's Thar, she's shot it so well. But if you ask me outside, I'm a big fan of Roger Dickens. Robbie Muller was one of my favorite cinematographers. I think he was very versatile. He always was a director's cinematographer. He was so versatile with his work. Like the way he shot Dancer in the Dark. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you completely about Dancer in the Dark and Breaking the Waves. The shook
The
me.
Answer in the
There are
Dark
these
is my
films that,
favorite film, ma'am. Thank you so much.
yeah, it's like it shook me from the core of my heart. I was like, what are these films? I think Dancer in the Dark, the way he shot, or then he shot this Paris, Texas, and so he's so versatile with what he's shot. And Roger Dickens, of course, I like Prisoners, one of my I mean, he's done a lot of more and more nicer work in a lot of other films, but somehow Prisoners is my favorite. It always will be. Then I like Lubinsky's work, Birdman and all that. And mm, other than that, yeah, I mean, different films uh, hit you at different times. Like there are films that really make you feel happy and then they stay with you. There are films that really break you and then they stay with you. There are films that make you think and then they stay with you. So yeah, sometimes you forget also. So yeah,
Ma'am, if somebody wants to become a cinematographer, so what advice would you give them?
I will say you have to keep updating yourself with the technique and keep as an artist because you're also an artist with a technician, right? So you have to keep, like, I in my initial years have seen a lot of painters. I see a lot of modern art. I watch a lot of films. If somebody's recommending something, I make sure I'm watching it, seeing it, why, what, how is it executed, uh, what is, yeah, I mean, watch a lot of films, to read a lot about cinematography. There are a lot of these forums, there are magazines, there are, and whenever you can, shoot your own things.
Thank you so
Shoot your own
sorry.
things.
Thank you so much for joining the podcast, ma'am. It's an honor to be able to talk to you, ma'am. Thank you.
No, no, no problem, no problem.
Thank you, ma'am, so much.
Welcome, welcome. I'm sorry I couldn't switch on the
No
video
problem.
because
No problem.
just come home and
No issue, ma'am.
not really
No
enough.
issue.
Uh, but yeah, I will say anybody who wants to do cinematography has to know that there's discipline, hard work, and persistence involved.